10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Third competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound, up and in! 1 point more to go!
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall, gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
We've got a lot of postseason basketball to tell you about, and I mean a lot of postseason basketball to tell you about. So, men's basketball, women's basketball, both heading to their respective NIT tournaments. We'll break it all down for you. We've got a number of pieces of news around Oregon athletics as well, because Oregon Football Pro Day is tomorrow. That's right. Pro Day is tomorrow, a chance for, well, a lot of things if you're an Oregon football player. So we've got that for you on the horizon. We'll hear from some of those guys throughout the week and probably next week as well. There's usually a lot of interviews around Pro Day, and we don't have time to get to all of them on the show, but we're going to do our best. Dane Altman, Nate Biddle, Rivaldo Soares, some of their thoughts after the Pac-12 tournament came to a close, what the Ducks can get better at heading into the NIT. We'll break all that down for you. For women's basketball, similar. What can the Ducks get better at heading into the WNIT? Also indoors now behind us, championships for track and field. Oregon baseball with a, up and down series against UCLA. I want to break all that down. And then we'll also dive into some updates on softball and every other sport that competed this weekend. But beyond Oregon athletics is where we start today's show before we break down everything that you want to know for the matchups for men's basketball and women's basketball. Again, both in the NIT, both hosting this week. The University of Oregon Board of Trustees has named John Carl Scholes as the 19th president of the University of Oregon. He will begin his appointment on July 1st, 2023. He's a distinguished economist, professor, and current provost at the University of Wisconsin at Madison. He is an inspiring leader with passion for public higher education. Scholes is deeply committed to the success of students, to the university's research and liberal arts roots, and its focus on creating societal impact. Incoming President Scholes possesses all the qualities necessary to take the University of Oregon into its next ambitious era. That statement coming from the University of Oregon Board of Trustees that has now concluded a long process with the search committee that included Oregon Athletic Director Rob Mullins. Welcome to the University of Oregon. Starting on July 1st, John Carl Scholes. New president for the Ducks. Now, men's and women's basketball. A lot to discuss. Because I think that neither team really ever was able to realize its potential because of the roller coaster of a season that they both went through. Different reasons, but certainly injuries played a factor. And, that might be what sticks out to me the most as we look at both of these seasons. The fact that both programs were so up and down with injuries, with consistency, and it's really hard to have any consistency on the floor when you don't have any consistency in your lineup in practice. Now, I know some fans, you hear coaches talk about, well, such and such hasn't practiced, and you're like, that sucks. Well, I'm here to tell you that when I go to practice and the Ducks are struggling to do a true 5-on-5, which happened a number of times this year, that's difficult, and it makes things hard. I just think we're all going to look back at this year and be like, the year of injuries. Tobiah asking a question. Any other basketball players announced they are returning? Dante, Bartholomew on the women's side, Tahina, Van Sluten, Gray. No, is the answer to all of those if any other players have announced no. Now, it's the first time since 2012 that both men's and women's teams are not in the NCAA tournament. I think that says a lot. One, how successful the programs have been. No doubt about it. For Dana Altman and Kelly Graves, won a lot of games on the men's and the women's side. But then, two, I think it says an awful lot about what I just described to you, which is the roller coaster of a season that it has been for both teams. Now, normally I'd be sitting here on a Monday during selection time, and I'd be saying, okay, so there's not going to be a Duck Insider on Thursday and Friday because we've got men's and women's basketball in the postseason, the tournaments are going on, and we know where everybody's going to be watching. Well, this is the first year since 2012 that decision from the director of broadcasting, me, has really bit us in the behind. We've always done that. We've always scheduled that way because it's a lot easier for us to just say we won't plan on shows that day for all of our various affiliate stations and our staff, and then have conflicts because there usually are conflicts during this time of year. That's why we do it. But that means on Thursday and Friday, we'll actually, I believe, Oregon spring football practice gets rolling, so we'll have some updates for you there on the Go Ducks YouTube. Jack saying NIT in 1975. Ducks were only a basket away from the championship. Yeah, the Kamikaze Kids hopefully will have a better time this year. Ron Lee, Greg Ballard, Stu Jackson, Ernie Kent, and others represented Oregon big time. I love that note from Jack. So that's true. Like, there has been a lot of success for actually both of these programs in the NIT. And, here's an amazing piece. And this, again, first time since 2012 that both men's and women's teams aren't in the NCAA tournament. There was a period not that long ago where going to the NIT was awesome for the men's and the women's programs. Shout out to what Kelly Graves and Dana Altman have done. Ernie Kent before, others, of course, that have helped build. You want to go back to Dick Harder? Why not? Ernie Kent, for sure. The build that these programs have been on, that the NCAA tournament is the expectation, and the Sweet 16 is sort of a given for the men's and women's programs. Like, that says a lot about where these teams are. But I can say all of that, and here's the truth. Nobody in those coaches' offices, nobody in that locker room right now is feeling like, hey, let's go to the NIT. They're feeling like, hey, we want to keep playing basketball. But they know the ultimate goal is going to the NCAA tournament and winning the NCAA tournament. That's the expectation, not just of the fan base, but of the coaches and the student athletes that are here at the University of Oregon, which is part of why the U of O has gotten to where it is in terms of the basketball growth and every other sport, really. So I say all that to start the show today because I had to think about it yesterday. As I'm watching Selection Sunday for both the men and the women, thinking, boy, Ducks were right there. And you know how right there they were? Well, the Oregon men are a 1 seed in the NIT, and the Oregon women are a 1 seed in the NIT. Gives you an idea of just how close things were, right? The Oregon women were listed as one of the first 4 out of the tournament by the selection committee. And I think the men were probably like the 5th team out, according to the selection committee, when all was said and done. So, look, is the NCAA tournament the goal? Yes. Do the coaches and the student athletes feel that right now? Yes. But now the question is, as Coach Altman even said last year and alluded to this year, you're going to hear from him coming up in just a little while. If you go out there and put Oregon on your chest, that should mean a great deal to you. That's what he said. And he's right. It'd be cool to go win the NIT. I'm in. Let's do it. Go back to Vegas in a few weeks if you're the men, for example. Didn't go Oregon's way against UCLA. So, an NIT game at 8 p.m. Wednesday against UC Irvine. Now that's interesting, isn't it? The full bracket has been released. Oklahoma State, Rutgers, Clemson, and Oregon are the 1 seeds. Now, on the Oregon side of the bracket, there with Oklahoma State, if the Ducks should get that far, it's Oregon 19-14 on Wednesday, 8 o'clock tip at Matthew Knight Arena. Will be televised on ESPN2. We will have a 7:30 pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network, all of the call. UC Irvine 23-11. Now, UC Irvine's a team that's pretty good. In fact, UC Irvine beat the Ducks earlier this year. More on that in a moment. The 4 seed in this bracket is Florida. They went 16-16. They'll host UCF, who went 18-14 in the game that is right in front of the Ducks and the Anteaters on ESPN2. Then the 3 seed in the bracket is Wisconsin, 17 and 14. They're hosting Bradley, a team that a lot of the pundits really like. Bradley might make a run in this thing. And then the 2 seed is Liberty. They went 26 and 8. Bradley, by the way, went 25 and 9 against Villanova, another familiar name for the Ducks. Villanova went 17 and 16. One of those 16 was to Oregon. It was in the PK85, the Phil Knight Invitational. The Ducks beat Villanova, and Gabe Reichel was in the starting lineup in that game. That was part of Oregon's stretch where they had like 6.5, 7 healthy scholarship players. And Villanova, a squad that's now gotten a lot healthier, probably an NCAA tournament team in a similar vein as the Ducks if they were healthy all season long. So the bracket sets up that Oregon should host the first 3 rounds. That's the way that the NIT works. So the NIT info for you. First round games are March 14th and 15th at campus sites for the men's tournament. They could start as early as tomorrow. The Ducks are going to play on Wednesday. The second round NIT games are this Saturday and Sunday at campus sites. So, assuming that Oregon gets a win, Florida gets a win, you might get to see Ducks and Gators at Matthew Knight Arena, which would be pretty darn cool. Could also see UCF. We'll see. But if the Ducks lose, they're done. Season's over. Oregon looking for a 13th straight season with 20 wins. Dane Allman's had a long streak of winning 20 games. In fact, every year that he's been the head coach for the Ducks, Oregon has won 20 games in the season. So I think this game against UC Irvine matters a lot. Quarterfinal NIT games are March 21st and 22nd at campus sites, so the following Tuesday and Wednesday. Then there's a little bit of a break before the semifinals, March 28th at Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, and then the championship game is March 30th at the Orleans Arena in Las Vegas as well. So that's what's on the horizon for the Ducks. You keep winning on the men's side. That bracket is actually in Oregon's favor as a 1 seed. The Ducks will get to host the first 3 rounds of the NIT. And here's how close it was. And this is why I think it can go one of 2 ways for the Ducks here. For Oregon, the pain is that if a couple losses like UC Irvine, Utah Valley, Washington State, Washington, and Stanford, just a few, if some of those, 2 of those maybe, turn into wins, the Ducks are probably in the NCAA tournament. Now, doesn't it seem fitting that one of those losses we're talking about is then an opponent that the Ducks will play in the first round of the NIT? So, in that game, UC Irvine, and by the way, they're a good squad. Russell Turner's the winningest head coach in UC Irvine history, and they play a lot of guys. I mean, they play like 10 guys deep. DJ Davis is one to look out for. He wears number 22, and he scored 24 points against the Ducks when they were here last. Now, just listen to this starting lineup for Oregon, though, okay? N'Faly Dante, Keyshawn Bartholomew, before he got hurt, Will Richardson, Rivaldo Soares, Quincy Guerrier. No Jermaine Couisnard in this game. Nate Biddle was coming off the bench. Tyrone Williams played 17 minutes for the Ducks. Gabe Reichel played 7 minutes. Oregon's a little bit of a different team now, aren't they? And I think that's sort of the defining characteristic, as we all know, of how this season has gone. So to give you an example, Keyshawn Bartholomew starts against Florida A&M, UC Irvine, the aforementioned loss, Montana State, and then he gets hurt in the Houston game, and we don't see Keyshawn Bartholomew again until January 12th against Arizona State. Different squad. Now, UC Irvine put together, though, a pretty good regular season. And the NIT is, and this is one thing that I actually love about the NIT, because for a lot of, for example, programs like UC Irvine, if you win the regular season championship, but then you don't win your conference tournament, then you don't get into the NCAA tournament. So in UC Irvine's case, here's what happened. They beat CSU Bakersfield, the number 8 seed, and then they lost to Cal State Fullerton 83-80 in the Big West tournament. So that means that as the regular season champ, they get into the NIT automatically. But they didn't get to go to the NCAA tournament. So that's a team that's similar to the Ducks. I think it can go one of 2 ways here. Either the Anteaters are fired up, ready to go, ready to prove something in the NIT, or they're like, we're not in the NCAA tournament. Meh. Didn't win our conference tournament. I think the mindset's the biggest thing in the NIT. Now, if you're the Ducks, And just look maybe at the last few champions. The last few champions of the NIT ended up being really good teams the following year. Made runs in the NCAA tournament. That might happen this year. So we'll see what happens. But the Ducks certainly a few days to get healthier, coming off that Pac-12 tournament, and then 8 o'clock, Wednesday, Ducks and Eaters at Matthew Knight Arena. When we come back, we're going to revisit the Pac-12 tournament, also go through the women's NIT for you. The Ducks playing on Friday against North Dakota State for the Oregon women. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Now's the time to imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like Tundra. Go for a spin, enjoy some off-roading, or build your kids that treehouse you promised them. Hey, they deserve it.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends April 4th.
Hey, Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Now's the time to imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like Tundra. Go for a spin, enjoy some off-roading, or build your kids that treehouse you promised them. Hey, they deserve it.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends April 4th.
Don't go anywhere. Duck Insider continues after these messages on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Chris Jakimick, I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. It is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Jack asking, are any of the negative comments about Oregon not having a true point guard the reason for our season's losses? I'm not sure what exactly you mean, but negative comments about not having a true point guard. The Ducks have like 3 guys that could play point guard, and Dane Altman would tell you the Ducks don't really ever rely on just having a point guard. They want guards that can all handle the ball. Has the guard play certainly contributed to Oregon's losses this year? Yes. There's no doubt about that. Particularly the inconsistency in the lineup. And then I think I said this on the air during one of the games. Like, I feel like Oregon hit the ground limping this year, and they were just starting to jog, and they never really got out to that full sprint. You know, that's what it felt like all season for the Ducks. You were just kind of waiting for them to click, and they just never quite got there. So all those things factor in, though, Jack. I agree. There's no doubt about it. Dane Altman, after the loss to UCLA. So the Ducks were in that game for about 30 minutes, and then UCLA started to pull away. Some of Coach Altman's thoughts after the loss, what it means now moving forward, things the Ducks can work on. Here's the head coach, Dane Altman, talking after the Pac-12 tournament.
Yeah, we didn't hit any threes, which, we needed to hit a few of the open ones that we had, and so that I thought really hurt us. The difference, they went 9 for 19, we went 3 for 19, so that has been a problem for us all year, and it really was a problem today. I thought we had some really good looks and just didn't get them. I liked the way we battled on the boards. They had given us problems on the boards, but we out-rebounded them 40-30. I thought our guys really did a good job of competing there. But Tiger got it going, and we did a poor job of adjusting on him. He really got it going there, and we we just didn't stop him. His one-on-one, he created a lot of shots for himself and did a really good job one-on-one.
Dana, kind of going with that, for 30 minutes, you guys really did basically keep them, relatively speaking, contained. What happened in the final 10 for Tiger and for Jaime to rattle off, and it's third or fourth time this year where one of the best players in the league has done that?
Yeah, no, we just didn't get stops. Like I said, he kind of got whatever he wanted, hit some threes. Like I said, the difference 9 for 19 from 3, and a few of them were guarded, but a few of them we didn't get to them. So, Singleton's going to hit buckets. He was 3 for 3 from 3, and that was the difference. Our defense not pushing out and getting on those shooters. We made some mistakes in the first half, but we were able to cover them up a little bit better. Second half, we just didn't cover up any mistakes, and then we lost our energy when we missed some shots. I thought the only time we really showed some energy, they outscored us 12-6 in the first 4 minutes there to start the second half, and we were down 8, got down 10, and then we had a little spurt. We finally hit some shots, and then that was kind of when our energy was the best. But we didn't respond very well when we missed shots. Our energy level just wasn't good enough.
Dana, in the second half, did you like the offensive shots you took and then just a cold night, or did you guys kind of get out of what you were looking to
Well,
run?
A few of them were out of rhythm. We weren't able to go to Dante quite as much as, he bothered a little bit by that ankle, wasn't quite himself, and so we didn't really have the inside out that we've had. But, and just going in my head, I'll have to look at the film, but of the 19 threes, 16, 17 of them weren't bad looks. Rhythm threes, we had a few good looks. So, that's disappointing. But at other times, we didn't make plays. We got to the rim. There were shot blockers came over, and I'm sure how many blocks they had, but they saved some times we got to the rim, and they did a really good job. And at times I thought we got sped up a little bit and took a few quick ones trying to get back.
Dante's not really himself. It looked like he was in pain a little bit during warm-up. He was energized, but can you kind of just assess what...
He's a competitor, and his ankle was just sore, and, when you're 6'11", 250 pounds, it's probably a little sore than on most guys. But, he wasn't himself the first half, 0 for 4, and, you could tell he was tentative. Second half he got a couple shots down, but he was only 3 for 7. It's not his usual percentage, and UCLA's defense had a little bit to do with that, but he got some shots right to the rim and just wasn't able to finish. Didn't look like himself.
You guys had a bunch of kind of solid scoring contributions, but nobody, obviously Tiger, took it to a different level. What's the process second half? I mean, are you guys looking to each other to try to just get somebody going? What was the process of just trying to get maybe just one or two guys really going to try to match what Tiger was doing?
I mean, we had everybody, look at taking shots. If you look at our shot distribution, everybody had an opportunity. We had some shots and we ran some stuff, but you're right, we didn't have anybody really get going. And, guys that play 30 minutes and, usually give us a bucket or two. Rivaldo didn't have a good offensive game. Jermaine had some good looks, didn't get anything down. And Keyshawn, gave us a big boost last night and didn't get it going tonight. So we had some opportunities. Like I said, I'll have to look at the film, but I thought we had a lot of good looks from 3. I know Waldo had a couple good looks, and Quincy had a couple good looks. We didn't get them down.
Dana, you've talked a lot about how it's tough for any team to beat any team 3 times. Just what makes UCLA so dominant and able to do that in a season?
I'm not sure it is. They're more experienced. They're obviously a better team than us. They've proven that 3 times. So, the 2 individuals, especially Tiger today, back at home, and Jacquez, they just took over the games. Again, I thought our effort was good tonight. We battled on the boards, but defensively we just made some mistakes. And there was one time where Tiger, hit a couple 3 buckets in a row, and really he was the only guy on the floor that had experience, was going to look for his shots, and we just didn't do a good job of getting after him. And so our adjustments, weren't what we needed to have. So it was all of us. We didn't get it done.
Dan, you mentioned the three-point shooting being a season-long issue, and we've talked about it all season. When you add Jermaine and Keyshawn in the offseason, I'm not blaming them. They weren't available for half the year. But when you add them to address an issue and it becomes worse, how hard has that been to accept that this could be the worst three-point shooting team you've ever coached? And how do you go about fixing it for next season? And I'm assuming via the portal, but how do you try and go about it when you tried last season and it just hasn't quite clicked?
Well, first of all, the guys that choose to return, they're going to have to make some decisions on how much time they want to spend in the gym. If you're shooting under 33%, you ought to either be really selective or not shoot at all. And so guys are going to have to get in the gym and really make a decision, because equal opportunity doesn't exist. We go to the numbers, and so we'll evaluate who gets in the gym and who doesn't, and we'll evaluate the numbers. And this year, we kind of got off to a bad start because we didn't have the guys we want. But Jermaine came in, and I'm not sure exactly what his number is, but he's around 35, and Keyshawn's a little bit above that. And but we're going to have to get guys. Jackson coming in can shoot a little bit. KJ can shoot a little bit, but like you said, guys are going to have to get in the gym, and there is no replacing that. There's no magic wand to being a great shooter. You see guys make jumps all the time. Chris Duarte, went from 34% to 42%, but he was in the gym all the time. Dylan Brooks wasn't a good shooter when he came, but he was in the gym all the time. Peyton Pritchard improved his numbers every year because he was in the gym all the time. It's guys think that, I can go shoot around for half an hour or go shoot around with my girlfriend for half an hour and I'm going to be a better shooter. It's not the way it works. And I've been fortunate. I've had some guys love the gym, want to be great, and there is no shortcut to being a great shooter. You got to get your butt in the gym, and you got to shoot all the time. And we got some guys with decent strokes, just don't work hard enough at it, and so they're going to have to make a decision. And again, it's not an equal opportunity thing, and we really got to evaluate this as your coaching staff, because that's 2 years in a row where we went from being as good or better than anybody in the league at shooting threes and being consistent with it. The last 2 years, we've been at the bottom, and it's made a difference in our win totals. So it's definitely a priority for us. And like I said, if guys don't get in the gym and shoot, they're not going to be allowed to take threes, because if you're shooting, like I said, under 33%, it doesn't make any sense for you to shoot the ball.
A lot of honesty from Coach Altman, and I couldn't help but think that in the Pac-12 tournament, when he was talking about some of those shooting woes last year, that it was a similar conversation. Different roster this year, but a similar conversation. I like that he said that. Hey, you're going to have to make a decision. Do you want to be a better shooter? Here's how to do it. I like that a lot from Coach Altman. When we come back, Nate Biddle, Rivaldo Soares, some of their comments after the game against UCLA as we now get ready for the NIT. Wednesday, 8 o'clock for the Oregon men, taking on UC Irvine, 7:30 pregame here on the Oregon Sports Network. We've also got a breakdown of the women's NIT coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider presented by On Point Community Credit Union. NIT for the Oregon men's basketball team. UC Irvine, a common opponent for the Ducks. UC Irvine, they won the game against Oregon 69-56 earlier this year. The leading scorer in the game was N'Faly Dante, and Nate Biddle had 10 points off the bench, the only Ducks that were in double figures. Now, Nate Biddle and Rivaldo Soares talked with the media as well after the loss to UCLA. Some of their thoughts and some good news, really, for the Ducks moving forward with a couple guys that are now kind of veterans on the team in Rivaldo Soares and Nate Biddle.
Yeah, Waldo, just a halftime, 32-30. You guys are in a good spot. What's kind of the vibe going in the locker room at that point? What are you guys thinking moving forward?
At halftime, just emphasizing competing and being tough. In the previous games, in the second half, our energy level had gone down. And we just try to emphasize coming out and continuing to play tough against them.
You were both here last year as well, and you both over the course of the season had individually improvements in a big way from last year, especially you, Nate. But to still be bound for the NIT back-to-back years when you make personal improvements, and in the second half of the season, I think the team showed at times some improvements. How does it sit with you that you can improve individually and maybe even a team as a team at times, but it's ending in the NIT again?
I mean, it's not how we wanted to finish and stuff, but it's a great opportunity for us to come out and just compete more and play more, and I think it's a great way for us to improve our own games. It's not what we want to be, but we gotta go from there. Yeah, and anytime you get to put this jersey on, it's a blessing, So it's not the way we wanted it to go, as Nate said, but we gotta keep competing. And there's plenty of good teams that are gonna be playing at NIT, so gotta be ready to compete.
Nate, looking at the season as a whole, injury bug at the very beginning of the year, some good parts of the year, some inconsistencies. Just as a growing player, one or two things that you'll take out of this season, lessons learned to try and help you be a better player moving forward?
Just from the season, I think, as the season went on and stuff, the team started to trust me more, coach trust me more, and, that just boosts confidence, and once you get confidence rolling, it's hard to stop confidence, So, I think a big part of that was just the team helping me, coach obviously helping me, and, that's just how it goes.
I think it says a lot for guys like Nate Biddle and Rivaldo Soares. And Nate Biddle said he's going to come back next year. Rivaldo Soares said that he's going to decide after the season. But guys like that, they got better as the season went on. The confidence boost was there. I just don't think that Oregon ever could totally gel and put it all together. Now, who knows? That could happen in the NIT. You get a win over UC Irvine. You avenge that loss from early in the season. You're a different team now. You beat a good Anteaters team on Wednesday. Then you're going to host another game on Saturday or Sunday. Maybe then you're going to host another game the following Tuesday, Wednesday. Then you're going to go back to Vegas. The Ducks are familiar with Vegas at this point. Maybe that's when things start to gel. You start to get a little momentum going into the offseason. We'll find out. All those interviews brought to you by Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a Duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. When we come back, women's basketball, the postseason outlook. Ducks are going to play Friday against North Dakota State. 6:30 pregame, 7 o'clock tip with Terry Johns. More coming up. Women's basketball looking at their postseason fate on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Now's the time to imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like Tundra. Go for a spin, enjoy some off-roading, or build your kids that treehouse you promised them. Hey, they deserve it.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends April 4th.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Now's the time to imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like Tundra. Go for a spin, enjoy some off-roading, or build your kids that treehouse you promised them. Hey, they deserve it.
Toyota, let's go places. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Dealer inventory may vary. Event ends April 4th.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Oregon men's basketball in the NIT Wednesday, a 7:30 pregame show, 8 o'clock tip-off. More details, GoDucks.com, ESPN2 for the TV call. We'll, of course, have it for you around the NIT. It's going to be a fun bracket, I think. Oregon could eventually get matched up with teams like Florida, Wisconsin again. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Ducks have had some success in the postseason against Wisconsin. In any case, that's the men's side. Now, on the women's side, Friday, the women's NIT against North Dakota State, 7 p.m. at Matthew Knight Arena. Ducks will be in action again. 6:30, the pregame show with Terry Johns. I believe Bev Smith will be joining him as well. Now, the Ducks were one of the first 4 out of the field, according to the tournament, and that's going to sting, but that's part of why they're a 1 seed in the postseason WNIT bracket. Gonzaga playing UC Riverside, Utah playing Montana State, Oregon, now that's last year's. It's got to be. Scott brought it up for one of the zoom-ins and then one of the other zoom-ins, and I just, no. That's the wrong one. North Dakota State is the opponent. I was like, Gonzaga, that's not right. Utah, they're a 2 seed. That's not right. In any case, following the acceptance to the 2023 WNIT, today announced that North Dakota State is the opponent Friday, 7 o'clock in the opening round of the postseason tournament at Matthew Knight Arena. The Ducks are the top seed in their half of the Group 1 bracket. So the way that it works, it's not like regionals. Normally it's like a regional setup for these brackets. Well, this time around in the NIT, because it's all played on campus sites, they call it Group 1, Group 2, etc. First round matchups get underway March 15th through 17th, 32 host sites across the country. Also in Oregon's half of the Group 1 bracket are BYU, Long Beach State, Rice, San Diego State, and UC Irvine. Now, you can see kind of regionalized there. That's how they do it, try to keep the travel low. The winner of Friday's matchup between the Ducks and the Bison will advance to take on the winner of BYU and Rice in the second round. Now, with Oregon being a 1 seed in the WNIT, they would host in that second round, BYU and Rice. That second round would take place March 18th through 21st. 18th through 21st. So you can do the math here. Oregon men's basketball may be hosting on the 18th or 19th, and then the 18th through the 21st would be when the Oregon women would host. So sure would work out pretty nice if it was like Monday or Tuesday, huh? You get a little more basketball at Matthew Knight Arena. That's what I'm looking forward to. Oregon claimed the 2002 WNIT title in addition to winning the 1989 WNIT championship. All time, Oregon is 18-5. How about that? Oregon is 18-5 in the Invitational Tournament with an 11-2 record at home. And I saw somebody mention in the comments earlier, it was 2002 when Oregon won the WNIT? Yep, that's right. Oregon claimed the 2002 WNIT title. Ducks have been historically one of the best teams actually in the WNIT. Now, Oregon, this year, certainly they wanted to make the NCAA tournament. There's no doubt about that. And listen to some of these numbers. Oregon finished the regular season 17-14, 7-11 in Pac-12 play, finishing the year tied for 8th in the league standings. The Ducks boast a NCAA evaluation tool, a net rating of 19! 19! And her hoop stats rating of 28. Oregon is one of 2 Pac-12 teams to accept a bid into this year's WNIT, the other being Washington. Now, look, I said this going into the selection, that it was going to be a difficult thing for the committee to deal with, because if we're all supposed to put a lot of stock into the net, if we're all supposed to think about strength of schedule and the net can really reflect the strength of schedule, if we're all supposed to be thinking about that, how can the team that is 19 in the net not get into the NCAA tournament? I don't know. Now we got the right one. Way to go, Scott. Good job. Good job. Oregon is in the top left of your bracket in Group 1. Oregon, North Dakota State, BYU, Rice, the 2 winners will face off. San Diego State, UC Irvine, and then San Diego, Long Beach State also there. Some of the others that Oregon could potentially meet are teams like Wyoming, Kansas State, Washington. May end up facing off with them. Now remember, the men's NIT is half the size of the women's NIT. The women's NIT is a 64-team bracket. The men's NIT is a 32-team bracket. So the schedule. Friday, 7 o'clock, North Dakota State. Bison are a good team. They're excited to be here. In fact, shout out to our broadcast colleague, if you will, from North Dakota State. Andy does the women's games, and I've been on their show a couple times, like when Oregon was going to play North Dakota State in football. Andy calls the women's games. He already texted me today and said, hey, we're excited to be there for a great atmosphere. So let's make it that way, huh? Make it a great atmosphere at Matthew Knight Arena on Wednesday and on Friday. Now, for the Oregon women, should they be victorious, I mentioned round 2 would be the 18th to 21st. Ducks could host that as well. March 22nd to 24th, same thing. Ducks could end up hosting all the way until that championship, Saturday, April 1st at 2:30 p.m. Now, historically, it's the 8th all-time appearance in the WNIT, or the NWIT, depending on when things changed around in your abbreviation. It's the first WNIT bid since 2016, and the 3rd appearance under Coach Graves. 18-5, I mentioned that all-time record, one of the better ones you're going to see. And the Ducks won that 2002 WNIT title and that 1989 NWIT championship. They reached the semifinal round in the 2016 WNIT. And they're 5-2 in the WNIT under Coach Graves, and they are 4-1 in the WNIT under Coach Graves at home. Ducks are 11-2 at home all time in the WNIT and NWIT. I repeat some of those statistics because they're pretty good. I mean, I think about 11-2 at home in a postseason tournament. Some of that's the Duck fans. I know that. I know what's going on. I'm excited for both of these teams because, again, I feel like they always were on a roller coaster in terms of who was healthy, who wasn't, roster availability. That makes it tough. You have consistency throughout the season, and you have experience. Those tend to be the teams that win. But both of these teams, I think, are more talented than their records show. So here's just some runs in the NIT. Let's have some fun with it, shall we? That's what I'm going to do. Wednesday, 7:30, pregame begins for the men. Friday, 6:30, pregame begins for the women in the respective national invitational tournaments. Meanwhile, track and field. Senior Lexi Ellis broke the school record in the triple jump at the NCAA indoors this weekend. And Jaden Mays had 2 top 5 national finishes in the sprints on Saturday. Ducks put a cap on the 2023 indoor season. Women of Oregon finished the weekend tied for 11th in the team race with 22 points, 1 tally shy of a top 10 national finish. Now, with her showing Saturday, Mays became the first Oregon woman to score in the 60 and 200 meters at the NCAA indoor meet since Hannah Cunliffe and Ariana, now Murphy, then Washington, did so in 2017. Mays began the day with a time of 7.13 in the final of the 60 meters, and roughly 40 minutes later followed that up with a 22.63 in the 200. She finished in 5th place in both events, collecting 8 points for the Ducks. Now, I know it's Tracktown USA, and you're sitting here saying tied for 11th for the Oregon women. What? Well, it's the first year for Coach Schumacher and his entire staff. I have a feeling that next year there's going to be an exponential increase in points scored in these national meets. Now the outdoor season is upon us, but the Ducks with, I think, some pretty good numbers as part of the indoor campaign. I want to get a timeout a little earlier than normal today, and when we come back, we're going to review the entire weekend of Oregon athletics, and then also hear from Mark Wazakowski. An up-and-down weekend for Duck baseball, and you know Waz isn't going to pull any punches. We're back after this with your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. That's going to be the Cafe Yum 10-minute drill. We're going to bleed the entire clock for the rest of the quarter on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Farming is dangerous. There's dangers all around us.
We go through safety training and try and do these things to make sure accidents don't happen.
You don't want to hit a gas pipe because that's your life. The other part of it is if you hit certain things, you're liable for it.
Farm Safe 811 starts with you. Always call 811 and wait for any underground lines to be marked.
Always keep safety in the back of your mind. Just stay humble.
For more information, go to farmsafe811.org.
Question: what will you find on all over-the-counter or OTC medicine packages to help you choose the right drug and use it safely? The answer: the drug facts label. This label lists the medicine's active ingredients and purpose, how much to take, and warnings you should know before using it. Remember, even OTC medicines you buy without a prescription can cause side effects you don't want. So follow the information listed on the drug facts label. For more information, visit fda.gov/drug facts label. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. Talking Oregon softball before we get to a little bit of baseball and beyond. On Friday, the Ducks were down 5-4 against Washington. Came back in the 7th to win 8-6. KK Humphreys delivered 4 RBI on the night, 2 in the first and then 2 in the 7th that gave the Ducks the lead for good. All 4 of KK Humphreys' RBI came with 2 outs. And in fact, all 8 runs that the Ducks scored in the game came with 2 outs. On Saturday, the number 21 Oregon softball team against the number 10 Washington Huskies traded haymakers throughout the game. Huskies prevailed 13-8, pulled the series even, and then on Sunday it was the rubber match. Number 21 Oregon jumped out to an early 4-zip lead, but fell behind in the middle innings, rallied late, and couldn't quite catch Washington. The 10th-ranked Huskies held off the Ducks 9-7. Two teams combined to score 51 runs in the 3-game series. Wow. Ducks are now 17-6 after dropping the first Pac-12 series. 2 top 25 teams going at it. I get the feeling that if this was played at Jane Sanders Stadium, the Ducks probably win the series 2-1. It's just one of those kind of things. So we'll talk with Coach Lombardi tomorrow, but they're also in action this afternoon. So if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, they're going to play Seattle at 3 o'clock today. And Ryan Milano, our buddy from KWVA and OSN broadcast intern extraordinaire, he's going to have the call for you coming up. So we'll have more on softball tomorrow because they will play again today. Hoping for a bounce back, though. And, you know, the ebb and flow of that game on Sunday, like, it was an emotional roller coaster. I can only imagine. Just me tuning in, it was like, man, they're all over the place today. Bandon Dunes Championship going on for men's golf. First-round action yesterday, but due to rain and standing water on the course, Monday's scheduled round of the Bandon Dunes Championship has been canceled. Teams will now play the second round beginning at 8:30 on Tuesday, and the event will be shortened to a 36-hole tournament. Oregon's Owen Averett currently holds a share of the lead at 2 under. He was one of just 4 golfers to break par on Sunday. As a team, the Ducks are second at 11 over following the first day of competition that concluded yesterday. Boise State leads the tournament at 8 over, followed by Oregon. Utah and Oregon State are tied for third at 12 over. So good luck to Owen, and good luck to the Oregon men's golf team. I hope the weather holds and they're able to get another round in tomorrow at Bandon Dunes, because if they don't, that would just stink. It really would. Now for Oregon baseball, as part of your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill, menus at cafeyum.com. Oh, man. Friday was great. Jay Stoffel started the game with a walk, and then he struck out 6. And I got to tell you, like, I was sitting there watching. That's the best I've seen Jay Stoffel look. I mean, it was – everything worked, and he said as much postgame. Ducks got a nice 6-2 win. Jacob Walsh homered in the game. Owen Diodati hit his first home run as a Duck. Love to see that. And on Saturday, Oregon hit back-to-back-to-back home runs in the bottom of the 9th inning to pull within 1 run, but the rally was cut just short by a sliding catch in right center that gave number 13 UCLA an 8-7 win in that Pac-12 series. It evened the series. The similarities between Duck softball and Duck baseball this weekend. Now, I wish there were some more similarities on Sunday because Oregon baseball lost 16-0 to UCLA. After that rally, they were coming back. I felt like the Ducks had some momentum, just couldn't get it done on Sunday. So, like Oregon softball, Duck baseball drops the first Pac-12 series, and they're 1-2 in conference action. Mark Wasikowski, you know he's not going to pull punches postgame. This is after the entire series, right? Got beat 16-0. Ducks won really a good, clean baseball game on Friday. Almost rallied for a comeback on Saturday in dramatic fashion. Then got beat pretty bad on Sunday. The true up, down for Oregon baseball. Here's Mark Wasikowski postgame.
Coach, I guess just what, in your eyes, what went wrong today? What was the biggest thing to you?
Different club, today. I don't have any answers for that. I mean, obviously the coaches didn't do a good job preparing the team. That's what went wrong.
It seemed like after the Tanner Smith misplay in left field to start the game, it seemed like the energy kind of was sucked away from their squad. Did you see the same thing on the field?
Yeah, that was a big play, wasn't it? Getting out of the first inning, giving up 1 run, and then, missing a routine fly ball and it turning into a big inning. That was a big deal. I thought we lost some counts and some other things, but at the end of the day, we didn't prepare our club well to play today, and that's our fault.
What did you see from Kelly Austin on the mound?
Well, he's a good pitcher. We thought in terms of pitching, he probably, at least going into the weekend, we felt like he was their best starter of the three. Maybe not best prospect. The kid yesterday is probably their best professional prospect because of his size and all the other things that he does really well. But we felt like the kid today was the guy going into the weekend that had pitched the best, and I think we saw that today.
Well, when you go back and you watch film from this game, whether it be today or tomorrow, what do you hope to learn from in a game like this where it is so lopsided?
Well, I mean, you're looking for answers in terms of what went sideways, but I mean, you're looking for answers in terms of that with prep work or anything. You look at everything, and so in terms of the tape and the video, you're looking at maybe what pitches got hit, why we were chasing counts, what pitches didn't get hit offensively when we were swinging, and I mean, you just look at everything.
How do you go about just pitching or piecing a game together, like from a pitching standpoint, especially when it gets away from you so early?
Well, I mean, you're just, at that point, you're trying to do your best. Nobody has a plan of having their starter knocked out early in the game, and when that happens, you're really trying to maximize the bullets that you have in the bullpen, and it makes it a challenge, there's no doubt.
Fourth inning, Riku gets picked off, Ceballos gets caught stealing. What'd you see on those plays? What was your takeaway from that?
Yeah, I didn't really know. We didn't have anything going on or anything like that because we were chasing runs. Riku's an aggressive player, and so, he tries to create things from time to time. I'm sure he might have been doing something like that, and I'm not sure on the second one. Yeah.
With yesterday, we talked about how we wanted to see Pace get ahead in the count and limit these opportunities for them to hit the long ball. And they only hit one today, but from Pace's perspective, what did you see from UCLA that limited his ability to get ahead in the counts?
Well, I didn't think that had anything to do with UCLA, whether a guy was getting ahead in the counts or not. That was more self-inflicted, I felt. I mean, we just weren't throwing the ball over the plate, and when you get behind in counts against good clubs, they're going to hurt you, and that's what happened today.
This is back-to-back games now where you have a bunch of free passes, whether they be hit by pitch or walks. Just kind of reminiscent a little bit of what happened last year. Where do you look to improve upon on that?
For me, I mean, that you're talking about, a bunch of new players.
Right.
They weren't even. You could bring that up to anybody around the clubhouse or whatever, and nobody even, half the club's new. So, for me, in terms of what happened today, you're looking at freshman pitchers that struggled, and that's going to happen from time to time. A week ago, everybody was talking about how great they were throwing. Today and yesterday, they didn't throw as great as they had in the last couple of outings, and so we're going to look at the tape, and we're going to try to get them back on track quick.
I was one of the people that was talking all about how they were really good. The freshman pitching the first few weeks of the season was excellent. UCLA got to them a little bit there on Sunday. Now Oregon's got to bounce back on Wednesday. Oregon baseball back in action at 4 o'clock on Wednesday. Since Oregon basketball is in the NIT that night, Jordan Brenner is going to be flying solo, and then he's got the call for the second Pac-12 series and actually the first road series for Duck baseball this upcoming weekend against Washington State. All right, tomorrow, Aaron Watson's going to join us, Associate Athletic Director, Equipment and Championships. It's going to be a fun conversation. See you then.
Some of the best sounds you'll ever hear are generic, safe, effective, even money-saving, just like FDA-approved generic drugs. Even if they don't come in the exact same color or shape as their brand name equivalents, they have the same key ingredients and go through a rigorous review process. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today and